I have just sold my Bonanza E36, which I had for 16 years, and everyone that's flown an IO 550 Continental engine knows that there is always a problem with the exhaust valves, burnt valves. Now this has a Lycoming 390 Thunderbolt experimental engine in it, and Lycoming is known for sticky valves. So I bought this 5 months ago, and it's getting about 330 hours, and that's where this thing usually manifests itself. So I had a couple of morning roughnesses, and then the last time I flew it actually lost EGT on cylinder number 4 for almost a whole minute. So we're going to take a look at the exhaust valve on cylinder number 4, and we'll start with removing the cowlings. So we have now opened up the patient, and the organ we're going to work on is cylinder number 4, which is on the left side and the rear cylinder. I just want to mention that I'm not an A&P mechanic, but this is an RV14 experimental, so I am allowed to work on the plane, and I'm just making this video for my self-education. Next step will be to remove the spark plug and the valve cover on cylinder number 4. We've now removed the spark plug, and we have removed the valve rocker gasket, and we can see the exhaust valve here on the right side. And the next step will be removal of the valve rocker shaft and the valve rockers, or the right rocker for the exhaust. And we right away ran into a little snag here. So in the parallel engines, there's one valve rocker shaft, and you just kind of push it through all the way. Now in the angled Lycoming, this is a 390, you can see that there are 2 shafts here, and they have to be pushed out. They're actually attached here with 2 nuts and a gasket and a cover, and this has to be removed, and you can see that there's not much room to push it out here because we have the baffling here. So I posted on Vance Air Force, and well, some builders make a little hatch that can open if they need to remove that valve rocker shaft. I suggested maybe just make a little hole here in the aluminum, and seems like a lot of Vance guy thought that would be a good idea, and it could actually be just covered with aluminum tape. So I purchased some aluminum tape that can withstand heat up to 600 Celsius. So anyway, the first thing will be try to get the rocker shaft cover out so I can mark where to drill, and we just need to push it through a few more millimeters, I think, to get it out of the way here so we can remove the rocker. So that will be kind of a step not in the book. So we put, and now we've taken the nuts off here on the shaft, and going to remove this gasket. And in order to get the shaft to move, we cannot have any pressure on the rockers, pressure on the spring. So I've been using this what's referred to as the valve wizard, which people swear by, so I can compress the spring, and that way I can get some play now here on the rocker, and hopefully the shaft will slide out. We shall see. We have now pushed out the rocker shaft here, and you can see that it's out. And here's our problem. Of course, I need 3 or 4 more millimeters, 5 maybe, and it's hitting the aluminum baffling here. So this is where we have to make the draw hole, and it's going to be, I guess, the first exciting part in this project. So we put the gasket on the shaft back, poke the back shaft in so we don't get any any dirt in there when we start drilling, and then we measured it here, and we have measured it on this side, and we used a center punch here to start, and we're now going to start drilling the hole. So now we have a small hole here. We just need to enlarge this hole and see how that goes. So the rocker shaft is now out, and actually I found using this tool was the easiest to make a small hole and then kind of enlarge it by going around the walls with this. Now with the valve spring still depressed by using the valve wizard, we can now just remove the rocker arm. Next step will be to pressurize the cylinder so we can take out the valve springs. And once we get the valve springs out, we will get to the valve stem. So next step here is to get the valve spring off, the exhaust valve, and we are going to use this valve spring compressor and get the cap off, and then get the keepers, the retainers off, remove the valve spring, and then we can see whether this valve stem is rotating freely or if it's actually been a lot of crud on it that we need to ream out. So we have pressurized the engine to make sure that the valve stem does not fall into the cylinder. And now we can see the retainers or keepers in there. There's two half circle metal things, and they are holding the valve stem, so they have to come out so we can remove the valve spring. That's the next step. Oh, here we have the first keeper coming out. They're pretty loose once you get the spring compressed, so you just take a little pick and they will come out, and magnetic tool then will just catch them. We have now removed the valve springs, and we can now see the stem of the valve poking out of the valve guide here, and the next step will be to push this into the cylinder and start reaming the valve guide. So it looks like we found a problem. The valve stem is not moving at all. I tried to rotate it, push on it. It seemed really stuck. So I guess we have to gently kind of push it into the cylinder with some gentle taps. I hope that will work. Only needed a couple of gentle taps here, and the stem is moving. So now comes the fun part. Get that into the cylinder and starting to ream out the valve guide. I didn't mention about this great community here at Groton Airport in Connecticut with home builders, and it's a great place to be. I've just joined the local EAA chapter, trying to go to the chapter meetings, and of course I can ask them for help and advice here as I go along, so it's great. Next step will be to ream the valve guide here, and I'm using the McFarlane special reamer for this, which seems to be the one that everyone uses, and we're going to put a little bit of grease on it, and it should be able to collect here the stuff that made the exhaust valve stem sticky. So let's do it. A lot of black deposits coming out here, so and it's hard to turn it, so definitely needed to be reamed, this valve guide, and doing it slowly, turning it always to the right, even when removing, turning it to the right, and then cleaning it and putting more grease on it and putting it back in and going slowly. And it's a lot of stuff coming out. So the diagnose with a sticky valve was correct. Here we can see what's coming off the reamer, and I'm going about a centimeter and a half, and then taking it out and cleaning it, putting the grease on, and going back in again. I'm not through the valve guide yet. Right, we finished reaming the valve here, and we put also a little bit of engine oil in there to lubricate, and that comes with maybe the most difficult part, or it could be fairly easy, and that is to get the valve stem, which is now in the cylinder resting in the grip of this grip here, into the opening of the valve guide, and then pull it back out, maybe using a magnetic tool here to catch it. I give up on the dental floss way of doing it, which I've seen some use. So this could be 10 minutes, or it could be, I guess, an hour or two. So we shall see. Well, after trying for about an hour to get the valve stem into the valve guide, I kind of gave up on that and will instead try to tie a fishing line around the valve stem, which is now poking out through the lower spark plug hole. And well, the good thing with actually getting out the hole is also you can inspect it and see if it needs to be cleaned. It looks good, so no need to clean the stem. So I will now try to tie the fishing line, get it back in, and see if I can catch that and get that line out of the valve guide. I'm not a laparoscopic surgeon, and using a boroscope and the grip and the tools here, and it's dark, obviously requires either luck or a little bit better skills, but we shall see. So the fishing line trick did not work. It broke, and I asked for help from my hangar neighbor, who has an RV as well, which he built, and he tried for a little bit to get the valve stem through the guide, but it's very, very tricky to get to, so he suggested we drop the exhaust, which we did to get a little better access. It still took probably close to more than an hour before we managed to get the valve stem into the guide, and then using a strong magneto. The first we had wasn't strong enough to pull the stem through the valve guide, which we did, and we have now put back the valve springs, the keepers, and the cap, as you can see here. So the next piece is to put the rocker arm and the rocker arm shaft back. Now we have put back the rocker arm, the rocker arm shaft, which was sticking out of this hole, easily slid back, and we put the washer back here at the end, and we will now put the this assembly back with the new gasket and new crush nuts, and after that we will put on the rocket cover with new gaskets out of silicone. And if you do this, I would strongly recommend what my hangar neighbor recommended, to actually drop the exhaust to get better access. You can probably do it without, but then you need a little bit better luck to do it. So anyway, we are approaching the end of this project. Well, just finished the final step of the project. We got the rocker valve shaft back in, and we got a new gasket and new star lock washers on there. So that has been put back on. We also put some aluminum tape on both sides to cover the hole, and This may have been a little bit of overkill, but I used this very expensive 3M aluminum tape that is holding up to 600 degrees Celsius. Anyway, maybe a little bit overkill, and it was pretty expensive. So we have put the rocker cover on with a new silicone gasket, and torqued it appropriately, and also used new bolts with star washers on them. And next step will be test run. Still have to raise the exhaust back up, so it will not be a test run today, but we will let you know how the next step goes, or the final step, the test run. Okay, we have just test run the engine, and it's started right up after sitting for about 5 weeks, and humming along. All the exhaust gas temperature came up evenly, and I also changed all the 8 spark plugs while I was at it, so everything seems to be good. Alright, all change is finished, and the plane is all back together, so time for a short, beautiful sunset flight now.